All right, troops, happy Friday to you. Hope you're doing grand. Back at it again with the usual Celtic chat, although I'll be honest right from the start, there's no massive transfer bombshells flying about the place today. Aye, things have gone a wee bit quiet on that front, but that does not mean there's nothing worth talking about. In fact, the reaction from the support yesterday to the Yamada news, that sparked a fair bit of chat, so we'll dive into that a wee bit more and maybe try to unravel what on earth the striker plan is at Celtic right now, because let's be honest, it's no exactly crystal clear. There's also a few other wee nuggets from around the club, and of course a bit of a preview for tomorrow's match against Estrela da Amadora in Lisbon. A closed-door friendly eye, but there's still plenty to get into. Now I can, some of you. Notice these wee things, maybe not quite to the level I did, but the channel's been flying recently. Loads of folk tuning in every day, which is class. I get that it's probably more down to the buzz around Celtic and the transfers than me rabbiting away on camera, but I appreciate it all the same. We're getting close to hitting 16,000 subscribers, which is just mad. And by the way, if you're watching and still haven't subscribed, apparently nearly half of you haven't clicked the button yet. Mental that, considering it's free. Go and sort it out. Hit the button and join the madness, especially when we're lifting. A treble in preseason and another one come May. Anyway, I said yesterday I wouldn't be talking about Isaac Jansen again. That was a big fat lie. He's now officially been unveiled as a nice player. That moved quick, eh? They didn't waste any time with the announcement. So he's off to France, and that's that. As for the rest of the striker chat, honestly, there's not a huge amount else they say. There's been the usual guff in the tabloids, folk trying to link Napoli's young forward Giuseppe Ambrosino and the like tie us, but nothing concrete. David Strelec's name came up again. Apparently he's broken his silence about Celtic's interest, but I'll spare you the clickbait and pointless speculation. For now, it feels like Yamada's the only one we're close to actually signing. Now, we did already cover Yamada in a fair bit of depth, but it's worth going over again, especially with how mixed the reaction's been. He's currently away with the Japanese national side, but know the senior team mind. It's a competition just for domestic-based players. That'll be wrapping up mid-next week, and then by the looks of it, he'll head straight to Glasgow. If I had to bet, I'd say we'll see him unveiled around this time next week, maybe even next weekend. But here's the thing. Loads of folk in the comments were no exactly buzzing about the signing. It's a strange one, right? Because his last season in Japan was solid good goal, Tally played well. But this season, pretty poor numbers barely. Scoring, and by his own admission, he's not been happy with his performances. There's also been talk of a new manager coming in a Kawasaki Frontale and a different style of play, which might explain the dip, but still, it's hard to know what they expect. Is this just a temporary blip, or is last season the outlier and this season the reality? That's what makes it such a gamble. But rather than judge Yamada too harshly before he's even pulled on the shirt, the real talking point here is what the actual plan is at Celtic. Is Yamada meant to be the main man? Is he coming in now as a soft transition before Kyogo potentially leaves in 6 months? Are we looking at Yamada and Adam either being Brendan Rodgers' preferred front two and then maybe Callum Osborne as the third option? If that's the case, it's fair they say it would feel a bit underwhelming for a lot of folk. I mean, we were being linked with the likes of Matthias Kvistgaarden from Denmark, who's been banging in the goals for fun, or Strelec, who's been scoring regularly for Slovan Bratislava. Going from that to a guy who's struggling for goals. In Japan doesn't exactly scream ambition. And listen, I get it. Sometimes these under-Theradar signings can turn out brilliant. I'm not writing the lad off. But gut feeling, I just don't think Yamada is that guy. When you compare him to someone like Ambrosino, alright, he's still raw, not played loads of senior football, but he's coming out of Napoli's system, plays for Italy, under 21s, and even scored a free kick at the European Youth Championships. This summer, that just feels more like the kind of striker Celtic should be going for. But who knows, maybe the plan was to sign both. That's what some of the early reports said, that it was Ambrosino and Yamada. But if that happens, suddenly you've got 5 strikers on the books. Johnny Kenny's probably going back out on loan. Callum Osborne looks set to be third choice, and I can't see him heading out. Adam Ida is here and staying for the season, as hopefully we see even more from him. But yeah, it's all just a bit muddled. Maybe it came down to the club choosing between the two and going for Yamada. Maybe Rodgers had the final say. Who knows? But if Yamada's meant to be the replacement, for Kyogo it just feels off. Trying to make sense of our transfer strategy this summer is like putting together a jigsaw where half the pieces missing. There's definitely a new approach, you can feel it. A few people have already mentioned this, and fair play because I think they've nailed it. It seems like there's two separate strategies going on. One's aimed at improving the starting 11 proper upgrades. The other more like speculative punts. Players like Enamura and Osborne, who've come in for low fees, low risk, and maybe turn out great. These aren't panic buys, they're smart long-term investments. But they know what gets fans jumping. Ooh, their seats. What would be nice, and I ken this will probably fall on deaf ears, would be some proper communication from the club. Paul Tisdale, Brendan Rodgers, just someone come out and lay it out for us. What's the plan? What are we trying to build here? Are we going full youth project? Are we trying to balance short-term trophies with long-term potential? Just say something. Let the fans in a bit. Because right now it all feels a wee bit disjointed. And that lack of clarity breeds frustration. Folks start panicking when there's silence. That said, I don't think the window's been a disaster by any stretch. Some solid work's been done. But the reality is the first team needs strengthening. Big time. We've lost serious quality. Koei Takura's gone Jada's away. That's two big holes they fill, and we're not even talking about replacements yet. We need players who can walk into the starting 11 and make a difference straight away. Hopefully Rodgers gives us a bit more clarity tomorrow. I imagine he'll be speaking after the game in Lisbon. Speaking of which, Benjamin Nygren's been getting some praise from Sinisalo, who's been chatting about how excited fans will be watching him. Apparently they use tape play against each other in youth internationals. Finland versus Sweden. Found out that back in summer 2017, when Celtic was still basking in that invincible treble glow, Sweden beat Finland 2-0 at under 16 level. And guess who scored one of the goals? A 16-year-old Benjamin Nygren sticking it past a 15-year-old Sinisalo. Wee random fact for you, but just shows they go way back. Now I'll tell you a different bit of news that's been kicking about. The alcohol pilot scheme in Scottish football. 7 clubs are taking part, including Arbroath Ayr United, Queen of the South, and a few others. Basically, they're going to allow a limited number of home fans to drink alcohol in designated areas during League Cup matches. Let's be clear, this is nagging in the stands and it's home fans only. You can't see the pitch while drinking by law. But still, it's a pretty big step because technically, this is the first time since 1981 that non-hospitality fans are allowed to drink at Scottish football matches. And here's my take, which probably won't surprise you: the alcohol ban should be lifted. No saying you should be able to neck pints in the middle of an Old Firm game, but surely there's room for a bit of common sense here. Celtic versus Falkirk on a Saturday afternoon. Come on, let folk have a pint. I've been to matches in Australia and Germany where you can drink in your seat and the atmosphere is brilliant. Scotland's drinking culture is intense, I get that. But the ban just seems to make things worse. Folk end up drinking more before the game, rushing it or sneaking it in. You could argue it creates more problems than it solves. I'm no expert. But it does feel backwards when every other sport in the country allows it. Anyway, let's bring it back to Celtic. The team's in Lisbon, now training at the Cidade de Futebol complex. That's the Portuguese Football Federation's training center. Opened in 2016, and it just so happens to be right next door to the Estadio Nacional. Aye, that. Estadio Nacional. The place where we had our greatest night, the site of the Lisbon Lions' legendary triumph. You can actually see the stadium from the training pitch. It's 100, maybe 150 yards away. That's just brilliant. I love the idea of this current Celtic squad preparing for the new season in the shadow of that ground. The symbolism is incredible. And you'd hope the club are making the most of that, right? I mean, please tell me the team are getting to go over and walk through the Estadio Nacional just to soak it in. Especially after the recent loss of John Clark. It feels even more poignant now. Surely someone at the club's arranged that. Just take the lads over. Show them where legends were made. I'm sure a guy like Kieran Tierney would feel that connection. Whether the rest of the squad do or not, it's still a powerful moment. Now I did some proper digging through the footage from Celtic TV, the Lisbon unfiltered video, to figure out exactly who made it onto that plane to Portugal. I went full detective mode, pausing the video frame by frame, writing names down like a madman. And from what I could tell, we've got a good mix of senior lads and young prospects out there getting stuck into preseason. In goals, we've got Casper, Schmeichel Vasily Sinisalo, and Ross Duhan. In defense, Anthony Ralston, Liam Scales, Austin Trusty Hayato Amamura, Kieran Tierney, which by the way is still Mad Tay, Dane Murray, and Adam Montgomery. Midfield-wise is Callum McGregor, Rayo Hatade, Ara Engels, Benjamin Nygren, Luke McCowan, and Ben Summers. And up top, we've got Dazen Maida, Adam Ida, James Forrest, Callum Osborne, Johnny Kenny Hyun Jun Yang, and Marco Tilio. But here's the bit I love, seeing which B-team players impress Brendan Rodgers enough to make the trip. It's no easy getting that call-up, and a few lads managed it. Josh Clark Colby, Donovan, Ben McPherson, Kyle Ure, Sean McCardle, and Samuel Esiguzu. Fair play to them. That's a massive moment in their careers training alongside the first team. Squad in Lisbon, especially with the club's history, echoing just down the road. There are a few noticeable absentees though. Cameron Carter-Vickers wasn't spotted in the footage. No word yet if he's in Portugal at all or still working at Lennoxtown, but we do know he's doing individual training just now. Then there's Alistair Johnston, Paulo Bernardo, and Liel Abada, all of whom were involved in international tournaments during the summer, so their return's been slightly delayed. Would expect them to fly out to Portugal in the coming days. But I wouldn't hold my breath about seeing them in either of the two friendlies over there. The club likes to give players at least a week's training before chucking them into matches, so it's probably the Newcastle friendly back home where they'll feature. Another one that's out is Stephen Welsh. He picked up a knock on Tuesday, so he's sitting this one out. And one more who was missing from the footage, maybe not the biggest name, but still worth a mention, was Rocco Vada. Whether that's injury related or transfer related, who knows? But he wasn't there, so for tomorrow's match, it'll be a squad made up entirely of the lads we've seen training in Lisbon. The game's against Estrela da Amadora, and I'll be honest, I hadn't heard of them before either. They're a Portuguese top-flight side, finished 15th out of 18 last season, just about stayed up. The game's behind closed doors, kicking off at 11 in the morning Lisbon time, which conveniently is the same time back home, so they need to worry about time zones. It's being played at Benfica's Academy complex, and although it's behind closed doors, Celtic TV are broadcasting it, which is decent. Now I've got to say, fair play for actually managing to get the game on air, but the whole setup still feels a wee bit amateur. Apparently, Celtic just asked Benfica if they could stick a camera up and film it, so we'll see how polished the production is, but I'll take it. Better than the usual black hole we get with these closed-door matches. Remember that Portuense, our game, or the Rennes friendly after the World Cup, we had to rely on random foreign journalists sneaking in and posting updates on Twitter. So this is an upgrade, even if it's just one camera and dodgy sound. And the big thing for tomorrow is we'll finally get a proper look at this squad in action. Brendan's already said we'll be seeing a lot of rotation, basically 2. Full 11s, 1 per half, which makes sense at this stage. Loads of the returning faces are expected to feature. Kieran Tierney back in a Celtic shirt, Benjamin Nygren making his unofficial debut, Maida's first minutes of the season, Rayo Hatate back pulling the strings. We'll get our first look at Kasper Schmeichel between the sticks, and maybe a chance to see how Amamura and Engels are settling in. Hyun Jun Yang and Marco Tilio could both get runouts too. Lots to be excited about. And even though it's just a friendly, these games are where you start to get a sense of where players are at. Is someone coming back fit and sharp? Has a youngster bulked up and started demanding a place in the squad? These are the wee signs Brendan Rodgers will be looking for. It's not just about fitness, it's about attitude, work rate, who's up for the fight this season. I'm buzzing to see Kieran Tierney back, even if it's only preseason. That's a move that's lifted the mood massively. The guy just gets the club, and you can tell he's brought energy and focus straight away. The younger players will be looking at him, learning from him. He raises the level on and off the pitch. There's talk that this is just a loan for now, but if there's any chance we can make it permanent down the line, I'd be all for it. And while we're on that, how good is it to see Jota dropping in, to see the squad in Lisbon? I know we'd mentioned it earlier in the week and hoped it would happen. So buzzing to see that actually come true. It just makes sense, right? He's still pals wide, the boy still loves the club. Just a lovely touch. Here's hoping it's no too long before he's back playing himself. whether that's in Europe or somewhere else. The setup in Lisbon's been spot on. Training at Cidade do Futebol right beside the Estadio Nacional. The symbolism writes itself. I still can't believe the club haven't leaned into that more. Seems like a missed opportunity. Can you imagine the first team walking into the Estadio Nacional standing on the pitch where the Lisbon Lions made history nearly 60 years ago, especially with the recent passing of John Clark? It'd be a powerful moment. Even if the modern players don't feel the same weight of history just being there seeing it, it matters. Anyway, that's the stage we're at. The early rumblings of preseason, but are already a fair bit going on. Transfers bubbling away, the squad starting to take shape, and the match is kicking off. It all starts to feel a bit more real now. Of course we're not at full strength yet. We've still got players to come in, both in terms of signings and those returning from international duty. And the truth is, for all the excitement around some of the new faces, we still need proven quality to push this squad forward. That midfield especially, it's crying out for a bit of creativity, a bit of presence. McGregor and Hatare can't do it in all themselves, and if Bernardo is staying, he needs to show a lot more than he did last season. Up front, we're in a bit of a holding pattern until we know for sure what's happening with Kyogo. Is he going? Is he staying? That'll shape everything else. If he does go, I want to see someone arrive who's ready to lead the line immediately. Not just a project. We've got enough of those already. And defensively, we've brought in Trusty, but we're still one short of center back if Welsh is injured long term. Carter Vickers can't carry the whole thing himself. Still, a few jigsaw pieces to find, but there's time. So big weekend ahead. Friendly tomorrow, lots to look out for. Maybe we'll even get a few transfer updates after the match. Rogers will probably speak to the press. Might not be blockbuster news, but we'll take whatever crumbs we can. Yeah! Meanwhile, I'll try and catch the game, but no promises since it's actually my birthday weekend. I know, good timing, huh? No sure if I'll do a video tomorrow. Maybe one later on Sunday, depends how things go. Might do a wee live stream, if time's tight, or maybe I'll just enjoy the weekend and catch you all next week. But either way, thanks for tuning in. Enjoy the game if you're watching, and fingers crossed we see some real signs of promise from the squad. Let's get this preseason rolling properly. Speak soon. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. In the ever-turning rumor mill of world football, few names generate as much buzz as Lionel Messi. The Argentine maestro, currently lighting up the MLS, has once again set tongues wagging, this time in Glasgow, after some glowing remarks about Celtic Football Club. Speaking to international media in what seemed a routine chat about iconic football atmospheres and historic clubs, Messi surprised many by singling out Celtic for special praise. Celtic Park is one of the most amazing stadiums I've ever played in, he said. The fans, the energy, the love for the game, it's something truly unique. You feel it on the pitch. It's a special place. While it's not the first time the 8-time Ballon d'Or winner has acknowledged Celtic's legendary supporters, he's spoken warmly in the past after Champions League clashes with Barcelona. The timing of his comments has sparked speculation. With Messi now in the twilight of his career and frequently speaking about enjoying football without pressure, some fans and pundits are beginning to wonder, could a romantic move to paradise ever be on the cards? Sources close to Celtic Park have dismissed any official contact, but the fan chatter is alive with hope. Could the boys offer Messi one final, unforgettable footballing chapter? It would be far from a financial power move, but perhaps that's exactly what makes it plausible. In a world where football is often ruled by money, maybe Messi, a man who's done and won it all, might be tempted by pure passion. Of course, for now, it's all whispers and wishes, but in Glasgow, the mere idea of Messi pulling on the green and white hoops is enough to quicken the pulse. Stranger things have happened in football after all. Hello fan, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.